Is that a monster in your pocket? Or are you just itching for a battle? No running now. Seems like forever since Mr. Bean poked his head out for the pokes in a big way. Oh, you got no idea what I've stocked in store for you. But let's start with the smaller big. Types are huge, massive, a D-Max wailord of a topic that spiritually scissor holds all that is the world of Pokemon. Got your favorites? Me too. Let's keep the blood off the screen this time, huh? Something this thick gotta make room for a couple notes. Rank criteria is complicated, but the general points are battle properties, designs, personal impact and appeal, and lots of various little things. Judgment will obviously be passed on the current Generation 8 form, which obviously means no mystery or shadow type. And that's script. Run with the Intimidate set. Boy, girl, none, don't matter. The science that's forever welcome to all types unfolds now!
Look! Up in the sky! Is it a bird?
Is it playing?
No! It's both! Sounds like a pretty nice way of saying flying. Doesn't do so over my wildest dreams. One of the greatest evolutionary powers on Earth. Being able to leave it is one of unusual magnitude in the world we actually want to live in. I find that by and large, the type of the sky is the least creative breed. Way too commonly following the outline of literally flying animal soundtrack to nigh universal dual typing. Flying very often struggles to perch alone. Poignant that it functions best as a flock, but forgive me for not being moved by the Pokemon equivalent of pigeons in the park. Granted, that makes them adorable, smart, and bring out a familiar comfort in all the surrounding insanity. The designs are incredibly straightforward, and you're never gonna have to ask, what the hell is that? It's a bird, dumbass. That's most of what it is, really. Birds, aerial reptiles, drifters, and masters of the wind. Their simple schematics are often our first booster seat in understanding the crazier stuff in this series, especially considering how many early routers and legendaries are actually a part of this family, with my favorites being Staraptor, Sigilif, and the forces of nature. While looking to birds so heavily for the designs got a little too reliable, it's fun to consider how they fare against the elements. With their widespread diet of insects and propensity to piss off gardeners, their offensive ace over grass and bug are hilariously dead on. Although, fighting? What, Mike Tyson can't beat Tyson chicken strips? Oh right, birds don't got ears. Their vulnerability to cold weather, shoddy power lines, and just one stone knocking out two of them though? You could say it's for the birds. Oh, but if you thought all this downplaying would be carried by Pigeon to offense, well, say it with me now. Plentiful and specialized, the aerial assassins of Poke Earth strike with an offensive privilege of a rich racist falcon, dominating the speed stat and neutral hitting 80% of all types at worst, combined with complete immunity to ground. Flying is actually one of the safest offensive types in the entire meta. Reliable stab and powerful support moves in Defog and Tailwind, paired with the common sweeper stats of their ranks. I love Hitchcock. Trusty buzzards to pick the carcasses clean. Love them in fights, but sadly nowhere else. What was born to soar over all others winds up swooping down for handout nummies, but wholesomely and day-makingly so. The ultimate in unassuming, the normal type, is also ultimate in ass-making. So, who's it gonna be? You or me? Trying my best here, and thankfully they are too. Despite the social label, normals are low-key one of the weirdest types in all of mankind. Some animals are clear examples where God said, that's good enough. Kinda the same thing here, only God chanted it in a mirror. Just one look and you're certain you've got the picture down packed. But when it actually comes time to ask what is normal, Well, that's poetically awkward. My specialty. Normal types appear emblematic of the link between ordinary and extraordinary, showcasing that everyday dream of a one-in-a-millionaire, unwittingly harboring an amazing energy they were always told they couldn't. Inspiringly so, they were wrong. I mean, please, do humor me. Reading into exactly why the hell the boring type could possibly wield more elements than the ones they're spiritually demeaned by, it's moving. Look, fat-ass narcoleptic teddy bears farting earthquakes and sneezing blizzards ain't normal. That bastard has talent, and nobody believed in him. You could be that bastard. I could be that bastard. I am that bastard. I am in love with what the normal type symbolizes. That even the common are special. Though I guess ideas aren't quite the same as reality, and that really shows in a fight. The white bread of the Pokemon food chain boasts morbid nutrition facts, the lowest of all average stat totals, 0 winning offensive matchups, and resisting absolutely nothing. Holy erect beaver nipples that sucks full charge timer balls. Props for variety in the move pool. I'm a sucker for support moves. Bat pass, kick ass. But this is the type of god. Damn, he really does love and tolerate all. Except when you punch him. Don't punch him. And don't punch cute little animals. Because most normal types are literal playing ass animals, jerk. They unfortunately share the same oversimplified aura that flying types often give. For that reason, it even commonly pairs with them. But it shines real bright whenever it breaks through. Greedent, Regigigas, Porygon Z, Lopunny, Snorlax, Silvally. Can't get enough of them. Especially you, my Whittleberry piggy. Hugs, please. And hugs to you, normies. Though it's exactly what the hateful hate. Both your best and worst ain't never hurt nobody. In my effort to corner the lucrative market of bottled tears, I forgot that it takes no effort at all. Just take water, pour it into a bottom 3 spot, and watch the salt magically appear. Water, by an abyssal margin, is my least favorite of the starter types. By proxy of being by far the most common, Game Freak's Grand Aquarium has a distractingly awkward quality to quantity ratio. The honestly annoying fact that 1 in every 6 Pokemon ever created pack 2 hydrogen atoms with every breath they take. Damn, Noah! Didn't even let us get on board. I'm getting all nostalgic, bitching about something beloved and widespread like old times. But as the original poster of the too much water meme, forgive me for just being a teensy bit aquaphobic. Water is clearly king amongst the brain children for its frankly overwhelming quantity and low-key forced defensive quality. Clever chemistry is partially forfeited with the favorite starter child's battle properties, taking poison and ice very well despite the real-life element being the easiest thing on earth to pollute and freeze. This, among other mindless balancing, frustratingly gives water types far more defense than logic would like, totaling to an often boring, tanky playstyle on the most common type in the game. If not that, just blast the stupid air breathers with 0 IQ tsunamis in a can. Hello, Kyogre, Araquanid, Dracovish, and the entire Gen 5 OU tier. I thought water was literally incapable of tasting flat. Harsh to say, the exhausting simplicity makes them my least favorite to battle with, as the amount of dynamic, interesting strategies Rain can offer are ripped to shreds by the dozens of king-size waterbeds and unmanned fire hoses. So, I've been kind of a dick. This is all just my fighting preference. As the handful of water types I do thoroughly enjoy training keep the still admirable offensive chemistry the type does nail. Eroding rocks and dirt, putting out fires, as well as conducting electricity and feeding plants. That's fun. And because there's so goddamn many of them, it's not hard at all to find one to fall in love with. My affinity for marine life does reserve a soft spot for the roster's better designs. Primarina, Blastoise, Kabutops, Ludicolo, Floatzel, Clawitzer, Swampert, Jellicent. Any one of them is worth a million Love Disc, Bruxish, and Basculin. Drinking the Agua's boring sometimes, but for all that breath, I couldn't breathe. It's comforting to know that some of it was taken away. Well, the tears start flowing and they don't stop coming. Dead to the trolls and I hit the ground running. For dear life! Straight from your eyes and onto the soil. What I predict to be many drops of sadness, clearly coming from Team Aqua. You lost, old man. Twice. Hail Groudon and the landlord from hell. Ground types, reign over rain. Don't I feel dirty for saying that? That's good, since second base is getting buried alive! The series that gave a McFlurry a face did right on sense, making the literal Earth type a force of nature. Nothing pinches the nerves quite like a well-raised child of Terra. The 5 super effective matchups every one of them is born with does disgusting work to effortlessly cull 37% of the free world. Where do you think the word terrifying got its upper half from? This makes ground types an unfortunate for us favorite of tryhards everywhere, but fortunately so as one of the common folk's strongest stress killers. Just like bullies kicking sand in a nerd's eyes, the nerds take great schadenfreude in bullying with the dozer. It's a very stupid, angry type. Though it still manages to ace chemistry every year, shattering continental rock and steel buildings via earthquakes, deionizing all circuitry, choking campfires with soil, and removing toxins with medicinal clay. It's easy to forget how smart the element actually is when all Pokemon teaches it is hit good. Dumb as dirt, huh? Well, that's kind of my problem. Ground is so one note, it can't even compose for an Atari game. Being nigh anti-support with its garbage status move pool, and being so physically oriented that it deadass feels like you're playing a Gen 3 game. Sweet lord, shoot dust! Don't wear it! Not the best crowd to go to for emotional help. I really have to be in the mood to use grounds, because the type just doesn't cover enough of itself. Pisses me off too. The designs are sick across the board. Palossand, Groudon, Landorus, Sandaconda, Excadrill, Golur, Crocodile. I wish Earthquake wasn't 95% of your guys' stab. Just goes to show that even the literal breakers of the ground can struggle to be groundbreaking. At the center of every extraordinary idea rests an energy fated to move all that can't. And as the coolest idea ever dreamt, Pokemon's been telekinetically moving us all with energy unmatched since the very beginning. The tale of the psychic type is a Greek tragedy that actually has witnesses! Barely. The original Titan hailed from an unprecedented age of mystic domination, where gods carried spoons. ESP doesn't ordinarily stand for explosive shit production, but consult any RBY veteran for a free shiny muck. Never before has a single force commanded so much awe, and for what felt like so long, from being the strongest thing in RPG history, to flooding the highest ranks of Pokemon etymology, to being the only breed to stake a claim in Ubers every single generation. Psychics project unreal emotional energy, some of the highest of any type. And as I stated in Top 10 Geniuses, it's an especially engaging class of speculative fiction. The brain as a chief weapon against the forces of infinity, taming chaos, expelling the elements, seizing all physics with your noggin. G.I. Joe was onto something, and in a world where knowing is all the battle, big heads make dead. Proficiency in martial smarts rewards you with ridiculously safe offense, phenomenal support coverage, your own priority blocking battle terrain, and some of the most clever battle chemistry of any type. Psychic's weakness in bug, dark, and ghost, as well as the strength against poison and fighting, embodies emotion and invention, possessing fears of creepy crawlies, the wicked unknown, and spiritual superstition, meanwhile inventing cures for disease, and conquering dum-dums in chess. Yes! Yes! Geniuses! Combined with their average mastery of both special stats. It's a hell of a package. All that amazing praise. Where's the amazing placement? Well, truth be told, the designs ain't exactly it. Most of the ones I love have mostly their other type to thank for it, and honestly, many of the pures are pretty basic and lack visual flair compared to other types. Also, like flying, Psychic feels more like a complement to other types than it does stand its own. I'm married more to the idea than the form, though Necrozma, Mewtwo, Mew, Behemoth, Reuniclus, and Deoxys are still my boys! Roll your third eyes all you want. The magic lives on, with and without believers. Does this count as character development? Take it confidently from one of the earliest YouTube instigators of Pokemon fans. They don't blow cool air. Since being burned the 50th time, I'm confident myself that there lies a fire type inside each of us. I've always chronicled fire as this overrated element that belongs under a blanket. Hey, Californian. It's basically our grass. But once again, the game of monsters in my pocket deals a persuasive hand. You'd be body-pressed by Corviknight to find a cozier type than the one that literally keeps you warm. Once started, a fire burns as long as you let it. And despite some acrimony towards the absurdly dedicated firefighters, few trainers willfully put it out. Probably because, despite igniting rocket fuel, fire types ain't rocket science. One of the brashest badasses in offensive play. The nigh universally high speed and attack literally burn the honchos of hot into the minds of sweep freaks everywhere. You know, I can't be clever for every sentence. Y'all got some fat rage problems. Field mouse? Burn it. Ground pimple? Burn it. Cheeseburger? Burn it. Puppy? Burn it. Orphanage? Burn it. Puppy orphanage? Burn it. That's how Growlithe are born. Look, it's orange devil jizz. Blue if he ain't so lucky. It ain't gonna balance your checkbook. Simple science, too. Just torch and melt things that are easy to torch and melt. True, simplicity's part of the fun, and it turns singles matches into baked Alaska, but it's also a disappointment. Fire's pretty much just the ground type if it had good defensive properties and coverage for both attacking stats. Gives a lot more offensive variety to pump into your kindled kin, and at least their two support moves, Will-O-Wisp and Sunny Day, add great dynamism in the shape of a trademark anti-punchback debuff and versatile weather. Kind of an arsonist's dream. Not exactly my dream, though some of the designs definitely came from them. Cinderace, Delphox, Blaziken, Talonflame, Heatran, Colossal, Magmortar. While not always my jam, I've come to really treasure what devotees of Pyromania headbang to. It's the Fire Dancer's oath. Every blast of love both begins and ends in flames. I don't know if it's a true title of honor to be crowned Master of Hard, but rest assured and spam the holy hell, you're still Master of something. I have a confusing relationship with the Steel type. Confusing for you. Assuming you know me, you'd think I'd worship Steel, seeing how goddamn robot crazy I am. Sure, but Steel is just their skin. And of course my PBS lesson of the week ass gonna tell you that don't mean squat. The kings of carbonated iron sure as hell rule like one, as personally the second strongest type of every generation it's in, steel always felt like a super weapon specially designed to deathmatch the gods in any form they came in, as even they themselves were manufactured as the supreme demons of defense, resisting 10 types and nullifying one at its absolute weakest. The robot's inability to sweat lives on in these dense fothermuckers. You know, most people that build a super weapon at least try to hide it. 11 types. 11 suck against steel. This of course means that wearing this mental metal is a declaration of war, cause it's a neon sign to the world that you were literally built for it. Being that hard has its pleasures, thank you Gen Z joke gods, but it also means everything else is Charmin soft. It's nigh easy mode, even in the one place where it's supposed to be a challenge. Because tanking that damn much passively throws a ton of strategy out. It's even immune to poison and sandstorm. And that's not representative of the detailed complexity and application that machines have. It's like technology. Why learn or do anything yourself when one button does it for you? Combined with surprisingly relevant offensive properties and low status move pool, using them in battle gets a little old sometimes. So why is it not bottom 5? Because everything else is epic. Top of the line chemistry, killing pixies with iron, picking through ice, drilling through stone, robots uprising human intelligence, giant mechs kicking kaiju ass, iron ore melting in a heated forge, synthetic metal blocking biological toxins. It's so inspired, and a roster with so many heavy hitters. Cortana, Melmetal, Corviknight, Empoleon, Metagross, Aggron, Aegislash, Mega Mawile, Bisharp, Magnezone. Forget about it. And while I generally don't prefer Steel's hyper-tanking style, the power trip factor can be exactly what I need in a certain pinch. The one to my enemy's nerve. Scales of the brimming stones, moths of matchless menace, domination of the devil unchained, and Fusro, damn, is so cute! Power meets a fighting heart through the voice that tames it, arriving in the shape of a dragon. The longest standing of the dreaded Titans. The dawn of Draconian Dominion feels like it was only yesterday, where a mighty lizard was revered as a king's weapon. Dragon types charm a great many the world over, deeply enough for me to confidently acclaim them the most popular of all. And the true reason why spawns goosebumps of Arthurian caliber. Ancient tales of runic reptiles unknown was one of the world's first cravings for life beyond life. The familiar warmth of a fellow critter meeting with the epic image of just about any almighty form our being could fathom. Wise, cute, badass, godlike, symbolic, hazardous, wish-granting, priceless companionship, boundless wonder, interpretive dread, blasting the boundaries between real and fake apart, and bringing us closer to the crux of nature. Dragons were the original Pokemon. And that same magical breed of imagination is something we all take with us upon every boot up. It's magic, it's fantasy, it's why we train. Or you could just be amazed that a dinosaur is vomiting ice. Fair. Well, barely. Yeah, that's the other thing about dragon types. They shrunk! Even after the advent of fairy, these scaly blowtorches are insanely strong. The absolute peak of average base stat totals. The ancient traditions carry strong, thanks to the type's commanding role in legend and pseudo-legend. But I kinda love how much sense it makes, since we've been dressing them up as cold-blooded Jesuses before Jesus. So you have my faith. I can't say they're terribly interesting battlers though. Dragon's offensive properties are almost as bland as normals, and their very shallow status move pools paired with their very common template of all-out god it's too safe. Not very spicy for fire-breathing reptiles. The chemistry's mixed too. The resistances feel like they were picked by dartboard, but I do like the basis for fairy, steel, and itself. Godzilla gets clapped by Tinkerbell, and who else but Mechagodzilla and another kaiju to give him a good fight. Love it. And I love these designs. Dragons are either ridiculously badass or ridiculously cute, with almost no in-between. Gudra, Ultra Necrozma, Flygon, Latias, Palkia, Tyrantrum, Garchomp, Hydreigon, Rayquaza, Zygarde, Regidrago. Woohoo! The Scalies have it good. Been out skipping rocks on a pond with some friends and all of them sinking on the first skip because they just didn't put the heart into it? Well, in comes the deeply disappointed wingman, swinging 20 skips into the sunset. The bane of all scissors is the Pokemon world's Swiss Army sleeper. Figures that Earth's unpoppable pimples would warrant tons of nap time on them. They were man's first pillow. But I'm fed up with that Stone Age view. Playing with rocks. Yes, it sure does. Literally paving the epic path of dynamic offense that ground should've. The most boring thing ever in real life turns out the complete opposite in fake life. Rock's matchup spread is hilarious, being defensively partial to half the universe, all the while utterly plowing a third of it, and still hitting a hacked mon of every type at once hard. Without a doubt, the most volatile and chaotic type. Most call it torture, I call it hype. There's a massive risk-reward thrill in using this insane type for any length. Its infamous propensity to choke on quad-core crotch kicks before the starting whistle is even licked feels like brimstone bazookaed into your balls, sure, but you can't tell me. Finally, crushing cucks with your Wile E. Coyote BS doesn't force teach you harden. Rock thrives on setup, despite the average stats being dumb as a box of itself. Thanks in spades to the upper and lower mantle of its normally crusty move pool, Sandstorm and Stealth Rock. The absolute slowest of all types becomes almighty Vanguard for both weather and entry hazards. The incredible influence of Stealth Rocks deadass silos the meta into several continents of varying privilege, taxing its extremely common elemental prey instantly upon entry, cutting the poor thing's battle budget as high as 50%. Pricks and stones break my bones! Meanwhile, Sandstorm eventually crowned Rock as the leading force of nature and secret kings of special defense. There are so many abilities, so many different strategies weaponized by the Rock type's signature weather. They're all fun to use. Sandville. The chemistry's ace too. Stone squishing bugs, killing birds 2 for 1, pebbles shattering glass, and tectonic plates suppressing magma. The cheeky bastards knew well to make the rosters solid. Rhyperior, Crustle, Lycanroc, Stonejourner, Minior, Tyranitar, every pre-Galar fossil Pokemon. Literal pop rocks to my tastes. My only beef is their near universal physical affinity, just like ground, and their core instability isn't always the mood. Probably explains why Rock is the only type to have never had a true Uber's rep. The pet rock does nothing, huh? Dinosaurs said the same thing. Whew, gotta retreat for now, but I'll strike back with the equally huge Part 2 soon. I implore you to subscribe, click that bell, and for God's sake, turn on all notifications if I've gotten you hooked here. Bring your max revives, it's gonna get City Dark Isle up in this bitch. See ya then.